Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Ether Hub. I'm Simon, bringing you more Magic the Gathering lore. Today we continue the story found in Crimson Vow, as the creme de la creme of vampiric society on Innistrad gather for a wedding, a most unholy union between Olivia Voldaren and Edgar Markov. In this video, we enter the reception hall of the Voldaren estate and meet some of the esteemed guests. Vampire scions from all the established houses are in attendance, from Stromkirks to Falkenraths, as well as some lesser lines just now appearing for the very first time, such as the Domnathi. Let's mingle a little as the bride herself finally walks down the aisle. This story looks to answer one of my original questions that I posed in my larger vampire documentary video, which you can find appearing on your screen right now or linked in the description below. I asked about the so-called missing vampire lines of Innistrad, how in the past there were 12 houses and not just the 4 we're most familiar with. Well, it looks like everyone, including those of the lesser lines, were invited, so this can give us our first glimpse at some new vampire lore here on Innistrad. Don't forget, if you're enjoying the video, guys, to like, comment, subscribe, and share it with friends. It all goes a long way in growing this community. If you need a recap on the Crimson Vow story so far, you can find links to the previous chapters on your screen right now or down in the description below. And with that, let's continue with the Crimson Vow story written by Arsenault, Rivera, Chapter 4, Bloodshed and the Bride. Have you seen her yet? No. Have you? Terrible, just terrible, to make us wait so long just for her to make an appearance. She might think she's the Lord of Innistrad, but don't say that so loudly, Relio. But she's far from it. I won't believe it until I see it for myself. Relio drinks from his goblet. A little blood dribbles down his chin, staining his pure white ruff, which Cordelia warned him would happen. He never listens to her. Don't feed on wastrels, she told him, but there he went. Don't agonize the Nusfar, simply because they look like children, she said, only to find him dangling blood-soaked candles over the head of a girl at least 5 times his age. Of all the vampires Cordelia knows, Relio seems the most eager to part with his immortality. Frankly, she's sick of dealing with it. There's so much else to see. Stromkirk cultist meetings had their own charms, yes, but they didn't have an ounce of this ostination. Cordelia likes a good prophetic sermon as much as the next woman, but sometimes it's good to see how the other side lives. Practically everyone's gathered at the Voldaren estate for the wedding. Olivia's truly outdone herself with the decorating. Cordelia didn't know that was possible. Still, it's hard to argue with the sights. The Voldaren estate is swirling with red, the carpet red beneath their feet, chased with golden thread. Red in the gowns and suits of the attendees per the dress code. Red, beautiful and dark, in the tiered blood fountains every few paces. But most impressive were the swirling red petals dancing through the air. Once, centuries ago, Cordelia tended gardens. Watching the petals float in the air reminds her of days long gone. And it's far better than listening to Relio go on. He's still talking, but she's no longer paying attention. Something about Olivia letting the Domnathi come. And what was so bad about that, she wanted to ask. Oh yes, they consorted with demons, but there aren't any demons here. Or at least none that Cordelia can see. And at least the Domnathi listened to the dress code. Relio came in white and blue. Honestly, his sleeves are already purpling with all the petals, the blood regaining its liquid form when it meets the cloth. A human walks by, thankfully providing another distraction from her companion's ceaseless chattering. Olivia's fine taste truly is on display tonight. The thralls are strapping, lithe, beautiful, and handsome, but never boring. The tray in his hand holds crystal goblets of fresh blood. Cordelia considers for a long moment if she'd be chastised for drinking straight from the tap instead. There are no marks on this man's rippling form. Probably not worth risking if he's someone's special pet. Besides, there are 5 duels going on in the hall already, one of which has taken a turn towards evisceration. It's unbecoming to eviscerate someone at a wedding. Doesn't stop the Nusfar though. Few things do. As Cordelia picks up another goblet, a boy who looks all of 10 drives his hand into a man's chest. she tuts. The victim is Christoph Laurent, a Markov known for dueling at the drop of a hat. But all the martial skill in the world won't save you against the pure predator instinct of a Nussfar. She liked Christoph though, as passionate everywhere as he was on the battlefield. Watching him bleed out now, she feels only the barest trace of sadness. Oh well, love is as fleeting as a flower even for immortals. And just look at who she's invited! Monsters, I tell you, being a vampire doesn't mean what it used to mean. Relio prattles. Why, that we're all bowing to this mad woman should tell you something. You're a Voldaren, she says flatly. That only means I know her better than most. 200 years ago, she'd never be consorting with Domnathi. Relio's next nonsense dies the moment he does, drowned in the blood welling up from his mouth. Like a waterfall, it spills down his chest. He reaches out for Cordelia, but she sidesteps his dying grasps. 3 seconds later, his corpse falls with a thunk onto the polished marble floor. Henrika Domnathi, noted demon sympathizer, stands just behind him. Crimson tendrils weave about her fingers. Dark, arterial blood fills her goblet. When she fixes Cordelia with her steely glare, it is all she can do to keep from running away. Probably boring man, she says. Friend of yours? No, not at all, Lady Domnathi, not at all, Cordelia says. The rumored one-time lover of Grizzlebrand smirks. Good. And you are? Cordelia. Yes, a Stromkirk, aren't you? She says. The way she studies Cordelia's outfit feels uncomfortably like a cat surveying a mouse. Questions of your kind lately, but it seems no one will answer them for me. Isn't that a shame? There are whispers about what Henrika Domnathi does to people who won't answer her questions. Faint ones, because everyone's terrified of speaking them aloud. The Domnathi bloodline is famous for consorting with demons, though to what end remains unclear. And even worse than that, it's said they'll do, well, favors for those demons in exchange for powers of which other vampires can only dream of. And when it came to Henrika herself, well... A human thrall wordlessly bends over to drag Relio's body away. It's enough to divert Cordelia's attention for just a second. A primal fear comes over her. She may be a vampire, but so was Relio. She's not looking to end up like him. If Henrika wants, she could just kill her, right? Silence rolls over the grand hall like a crimson tide as all eyes land on the dais. Olivia Voldaren has finally arrived. And what an entry she's made, floating down the steps in her wedding finery, her swirling, haunted sanguine train held aloft by bats. Every gleaming arcane light glitters anew, every one illuminating some new detail. The glimmer of her gold and jewels, the glint of her teeth, the glamour of a gown made from the spirits of her oldest victims. In all the time Cordelia has been alive, a few hundred years now, she's never seen such sartorial heights. That collar has got to be at least as tall as some toddlers. Even Henrika's impressed. A soft, escaping her lips. She drapes an arm around Cordelia. What a shame, the party's begun. What a shame, Cordelia repeats. But Olivia saves them from any further conversation. It's my dearest friends, my most ardent enemies. No good can ever come from her sounding so happy. I see we've already had some murders. What fun! I can't tell you how happy it makes me to have blood sacrifices at my wedding. But what would a wedding be without a groom? She holds aloft her glass in signal to some unseen forces. Soon, she is no longer alone on the dais. A group of immaculately dressed thralls, most in Abyssinian finery for the joke, emerge, carrying an elaborate stone coffin, marble and laid with gold, crowned by Markovian rays. The thralls set the coffin down standing up. In that moment, the ballroom is as silent as it ever will be. And there you have it, guys, chapter 4 of Crimson Vow Story. I really enjoyed learning about the social structure of vampire society in this one. It's not just about the main event. We are gathering some of the greatest and oldest lines of vampires on Innistrad for the very first time in our history, and it's great to see that explored. I'm really happy that we're diving into the lesser known bloodlines of vampires in these stories. We may not touch on all 12, but getting a closer look at the Domnathi and their demon blood drinking ways, well, it adds a lot to the lore, and gives us a new facet of vampires to play with. A line of vampires who consort with demons, drink their blood, and benefit from their dark powers. Now that's really interesting. Anyway guys, we have more Crimson Vow story coming to the channel soon, so don't forget to subscribe and tick the notification bell so you never miss out on a new release. I keep my content free for you guys, so if you enjoyed it, please consider supporting the channel's growth by liking and sharing the video with friends. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, see ya!